I would never place a bulk order for my next sportswear collection without checking these 3 numbers first. And we're not talking about checking and making sure that your logo is perfect or your product is perfect or the colorway or the final campaign idea. We're talking about the numbers, because a product can be perfect. It can have the final sample round. Everything checks out: the fit, the fabric, the construction. But even if it feels approved, your bulk order can go completely wrong when it comes to a financial perspective because of these 3 numbers. And a lot of founders treat the bulk production like it's the be all end all. And in a sense, it is. At the end of the day, you're entering into a relationship with a factory in order to create the product that you're going to then sell for a margin. But the challenge there is you need to sell it for a margin. So without understanding these 3 core numbers, you really open yourself up to a lot of risk when it comes to your investment and how you're able to turn that investment into an actual functioning business. So in today's episode, we'll be looking at what these 3 core numbers are as someone who's been in manufacturing for the last 10 years and has literally helped thousands of sportswear brands go from an idea to a physical product in pretty much under 30 days. So if you're interested in terms of what are the 3 core numbers that you need to know, so that way you can have a better product development and sample development process where you're able to invest and see the product all the way through without running out of financial resources down the line, and get the product at the correct price that you can then sell and make a profit on, and know how many units you need to sell in order to have completely recuperated your initial cost, this is going to be the episode for you. The first number you need to know is your landed cost, not just the standard FOB price or free or freight on board price that a factory will give you. This is the main number because this is the real cost of getting the product from the factory to your doorstep. Because if they give you any other pricing that doesn't include that price, it's pointless. There's alternatives and there are unknowns in that pricing that you then need to figure out down the line in order to accurately calculate your production cost and your landed cost more into it. So your landed cost is always going to include the production cost, the packaging, the shipping, insurance, import duties, taxes, customs clearance, broker fees, and local delivery to your warehouse or your office. And DHL ultimately defines your landed cost as the total cost of getting the product from a factory to a customer's door, including shipping, insurance, customs, and duties where the goods actually cross borders. So here's a simple example for you. A factory might quote you $18 for a hoodie, but when you actually go to look at what your landed cost is, when you include everything in there that we mentioned, including the delivery, the packaging, payment fees, you might notice that your landed cost might actually turn out to 25, 26, and that changes how you price. It changes your retail price, it changes your margin, it changes your cash flow, and it changes whether that specific product is even worth making or not. This is why a very cheap factory quote with minimal information can be a little bit misleading. The cheapest FOB price may not necessarily be the cheapest product, because if you look at the cost to ship a hoodie versus a t-shirt, marginally a hoodie and a t-shirt may not be that widely apart when it comes to the actual FOB price, but the shipping price, because of the volume and the weight of a hoodie, might add drastic amounts of investment into that hoodie versus that's not what you might have been going for with that initial product, and you might have been better off with a t-shirt. And the only number that matters before bulk is the finished unit cost when it's fully landed at your doorstep and ready to sell. Number 2 is the EXW price versus the DDP price, and making sure that your quotation takes those into account. And this is where founders typically get confused very fast. Factories are generally going to quote you either on EXW terms or on FOB terms. Unless you explicitly ask them for DDP, which means delivery duty paid, it's often not going to be the case that a factory is going to quote you on DDP, because it makes its price look inherently inflated compared to its competitors. And if they're going to be the only ones that are going to quote you off of a DDP price early on, where they might not know what type of shipping method you want, are you shipping by air express, by air freight, by sea, are you going to want insurance included, it is pointless for them to include that price right off the bat, especially when you're forming that relationship. So to understand what the different shipping terms means, we're going to look at the most common shipping terms that are EXW, FOB, and DDP. EXW means X works, where specifically with EXW, the seller has the minimum amount of responsibility when compared to FOB and DDP. They basically make the goods and they have them available at their warehouse. And then from that moment on, it's your job to transport them from their warehouse to the port of discharge, and then from the port of discharge to the port of import, and then to your final warehouse. And you're responsible for that entire process in terms of investment and responsibility on an insurance-wise at the EXW specific shipping terms. Now, DDP is the maximum amount of responsibility for the actual seller. This means that the seller has to guarantee the delivery of the goods all the way to the final port and all the way to your warehouse and your final address. And they are responsible for insurance, for the import duties, for the broker fees, pretty much everything. This is as true as possible as to your landed cost. Now, FOB means that the seller is responsible for taking the goods from their warehouse and transporting it safely to the port of discharge and offering what is known as a bill of lading, which essentially then removes the responsibility from them and transfers ownership over to you. And that's where they need a zero balance. And then you take care of the shipping from there. So when you speak to a factory, don't just ask, what's the unit cost? Because that's a very wide and broad term. Ask them specifically, can you quote this product as EXW if that serves you? If you have your own freight forwarding that you trust, that you've been working with over the years. Or ask them, can you quote this as FOB? Or ask them, can you quote this as DDP to my address, and give them the full address? And then ask them for different shipping options. Ask them for DDP by Air Express. Ask them for DDP by Air Freight, by sea. All of these things will change the final unit price. And each one has a very different purpose. Air Express is usually the fastest and the easiest for you in terms of pickup and delivery. Companies like FedEx and DHL specialize in Air Express. But it is a much higher cost per unit. And it's typically much better for a smaller run of samples and maybe pre-production samples that you're going to use for marketing purposes. Air freight is still fast, but it's usually for slightly heavier shipments. Anything over 20 kilos to around maybe 500 to 1,000 kilos depending. And this is key if you want something fast, but you have a medium-sized shipment. For the majority of bulk orders for small startup brands, you're probably going to opt for this because it has the perfect balance of time and price. And then sea freight is going to be the most cost effective, and you'll be shipping either in a container or in a partial container. And this is great for large bulk orders where you want to protect your margin. The challenge there is that most smaller brands need the product as soon as possible because if they don't have product, they cannot sell. So they need to be willing to eat up into their margin to be able to get the product there faster so that they can start selling. It's the larger brands that are able to invest capital months and months in advance that are able to invest into sea shipping because they have the headway that is needed in order to justify the time it takes to get the product in their warehouse from sea shipping. Because they're not just waiting on that product, they already have other product that's been put into motion months before that they are ready and available to sell with. So your product can look cheap at EXW, but the real price can come up when it comes down to you taking responsibility of the insurance, the shipping, and all of the additional charges that come down the line where you might not be prepared to work with those on. Number 3 is your sample and your development cost. And this is the second big number that you need to take into account. Most founders think about samples in a very sort of one-dimensional way. When you say my sample cost is 150, that is true. But the real sample cost can include many different things. And the reason that factories cannot just give you a blanket sample is because they don't know what your product is. They don't know what decisions that you might make when you start engaging with them. They don't know what the full extent of it is. Even if you have a tech pack, as long as the tech pack has every single element in there and you don't change your mind, that's where a sample cost can be given to you accurately. But before that, before any tech pack is done, before any clear idea of what your product is, it's impossible for a accurate final sample development price to be given. Because your sample price typically does not include your second or third round samples, especially if it comes down to you changing your mind. If it comes down to factory error, that's a different story. It doesn't include sometimes pattern development, although if you work with a reputable factory, they will do the pattern development for you. That should be included in the sample price itself. But for example, in the US and in Europe, pattern development is not included in the sample cost. And sometimes that can be hundreds, if not almost thousands of dollars across a large collection. It doesn't include your mold costs, your print screens. It doesn't include any custom trims that you want to see on the garment. It doesn't include any custom zipper pullers, elastic development, packaging setup if that's necessary. It doesn't include fit model costs if that's necessary. And it doesn't include tech pack revisions if you have to make them because you've changed your mind. all of this is the real cost of getting a product ready for production. And the mistake that most founders assume is that I can just go in, I can show a picture of what I want, and all of a sudden I pay for one sample and I get the product done correctly. This is far from the truth, because even when you're going in with one image of one product, the factory doesn't know what the fit is. So most likely you're going to need to resample again in the future. They don't have an understanding of the pattern, so they may be less willing to take on a project like this because they have to do a lot of work for a lack of perceived outcome, because they're not sure that they can deliver what you're looking for, and they worry that all the time and investment that they're going to put into developing that product is going to go to waste simply because they don't have a predefined endpoint that they need to go for. And this is the mistake that a lot of founders have, is that they leave this outside of the product cost. They don't look at their sample and their product development cost as a fundamental part of getting their product to market. But ultimately, the business is still going to pay for it. So if you don't know how much it's going to properly cost you to develop your sample, then you're going to be in a very hard world of trouble. So let's use strict numbers, for example. Let's just say it costs you $500 all in your sample development product. But then it also costs you another $600 for a tech pack. So you're $1,100 in, but the good news is you've been able to make the sample right the first time because you use something like a FittDesign tech pack that guarantees that the sample comes back perfect or the sample is remade. What this means is now your development and product cost is $1,100. Let's just say you have 110 units. That's $10 that goes into the price of your cost of goods sold on that unit. So that means that instead of your t-shirt costing you $20, now it costs you, let's just say $31. But it's much better to have an understanding of your development cost versus not having an understanding, because then you can account for it with your margins. It means that you can know how much I need to charge, what I can afford to pay in terms of influencer and marketing campaigns, and shipping to get the product to my customer. Versus not having any clarity of that, you may end up undercharging and may end up actually losing money on every single product because you let your development costs go way crazy and because you didn't properly account for those investments into your retail price. Meaning not only are you spending your money, but you're also spending your time to make a negative profit or a loss on each product and each unit sold. That's the fastest way to go out of business and to burn yourself and to leave a sour taste in your mouth about the apparel business. Number 4, the last and probably most important number that you may need to check is your break-even sell-through number. This is by far what's going to dictate when you go from being a loss to a profit. So this means how many units do you need to sell before you've recuperated your initial investment, before this order actually makes sense. And this is where most founders only look at the margin percentage and miss the real picture. Because even if you're selling, let's just say, a hoodie for $200 and it's costing you $25 to make, you have a great margin. But let's just say you only sell through 5 hoodies. It's not selling. Yes, you're making margin on the units that are sold, but you are nowhere close to recuperating the cost of investment that you've put into developing the products. So this is where you need to know exactly what your product is costing you so that you know how long it's going to take you to recuperate that investment. So you need to add in things like your payment fees, your fulfillment, your packaging. You need to also allow for around 5 to 7% of returns. You need to put in your marketing costs, your photo shoot cost, your development costs, storage if necessary, and discounts or exchange costs are essential. And now your true profit per unit is going to appear. So the question becomes, how many units do I need to sell at full price before I recover my fixed costs, which of course include the cost of the garment itself and all of those other costs that go into selling the product. So again, if you spent $3,000 on development, samples, content, setup, your true profit after all of this variable cost might be $20 per unit, right? On a hoodie, for example. And you need to sell 150 units of that hoodie in order for you to recuperate what you've invested thus far. So selling 300 units ultimately will sound exciting, but if your margins don't work and if you don't know what is the break-even point at which you're now in a profit, you're not going to have a target to work towards and you're always going to be guessing. And if you guess in business, this is what ultimately leads to a lack of success because you don't know what levers you need to pull on because you don't understand the goals that you're trying to achieve. So what you need to ask yourself before bulk is the following questions. For me to recuperate my initial investments, how many units do I need to sell at full price? How many units can I afford to sell at a discount? What happens if 20% of my stock moves slowly? So I'm able to sell 80% of my stock relatively quickly, but then I have 20% of my stock that moves slowly. The challenge there is that your break even, or let's just say your sell-through break even, might be so high that even selling through 80% means that you're still at a loss. What happens if my shipping is higher than expected and I haven't accounted for that in my cost of goods sold? What happens if I need another couple of sample runs before production that skyrockets my development cost because I need to invest more into the product development, and there's also an opportunity cost to me not having the product in hand so I can start selling? Because a business only is able to make money and transact with the customer when it has a product that's available for sale. Unlike a digital product where as soon as that product is created, it's ready to be immediately sold, and there's no effort or there's no momentum and there's no pressure that's put onto developing and producing more of those units. It can be scaled infinitely. So let's ultimately ask why these numbers protect you from a bad bulk order. Because the real danger isn't having one of these numbers wrong. The real danger is in having all three of these numbers slightly wrong or not understanding them completely, where your landed cost is higher than expected and the development cost is not included in your cost of goods sold, or the break-even number was way too optimistic and way too low. This is where founders start placing bulk orders on products that they think are profitable, and that's where their cash flow immediately is shrunk. So the lesson that you need to learn, whether you're a large company or you're a startup as well, is that tariffs, product cost, freight, pricing, and channel mix are not small details. These are essential parts of figuring out what your true cost is to let you know what you need to sell. Because once the actual order is placed with your factory, the cost is real, right? Like you already have the fabric that's bought, the trims are ordered, the factory time is booked, and the shipping route is chosen, right? The cash there is committed. So if you don't know those numbers before going in, you're playing a losing battle. So if there's one thing that you're going to take from this episode, I want it to be this. Never place a bulk order just because a sample looks great and the factory gave you an attractive unit price. This is not enough. Before the bulk order, you need to know your landed cost, your development cost, and your break-even sell-through number. Those three numbers will tell you whether a product is actually ready for production, not just visually ready on paper. Because the goal is not just to make a product, the goal is to make a product in a way that actually drives and moves your business forward. And if you guys want to learn how you can take a great idea into a award-winning product in under 30 days and maintain healthy margins that allow you to set yourself apart from the market and scale your business, then you can check the link in the description to apply to work with us, and we'll get back to you with a personalized production roadmap on what it would take to get your idea from a vision to a physical product in under 30 days. Guys, and I say this from the very bottom of my heart, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of FittDesign TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.